Hello dear friends, it's Fisher here. So today we continue with our story, The Power of the Spirit by Alfred Hosp, also known as Freddy in the book. Now we come to story 16, second part. So in the first part, Bruno mentioned about there was a lady and she was quite anxious about her husband's waiting for her outside the door, and when she attended Bruno's little talk, and Bruno asked her to get her husband in, and then Bruno also said people often get too anxious in the face of the evil, and we should always trust and have faith in God. Okay, now come to the second part. So basically, that lady won and got her husband to come with her to Bruno's talk. And Bruno said to Mr. M in the book, "I'm delighted to meet you. Please take a seat." And then Bruno asks Mr. M, "So, you love your wife and want her to be well?" And Mr. M unwillingly said, "Yes, why?" And Bruno said, "Then just listen, for once, to what your wife has to say to you. Or don't you think that she only wants what is good for you as well?" Mr. M, with a shrug, said, "Oh, I don't know. I don't understand all this. It is so strange to me." And Bruno said, "But it is only the good which you shouldn't reject. And in the depths of your heart, you really don't want to. It is only that you haven't become conscious of it. But you should listen to your wife's advice nevertheless, and it is also what is best for you." And after a while, and Bruno asked Mr. M, "How do you feel with us here? Just look around you a little. These are nice people, aren't they?" Mr. M just sat there with his head bowed and gave no answer. And then he wasn't very comfortable. And then he was sweating a lot. And then after a long while, and Bruno said, "Oh, dear man, you can take your wife home now. Have I put your patience to the test for too long? Never mind. When you listen to hold on your peace, when you learn to hold on your peace, things will be easier for you as well, and you will understand your wife better, and come inside again when you bring your wife here." After the couple left, and then one of the friends in Bruno's talk, Eric Barvey, said, in a joking way, "Oh wow, he was sweating good and proper." And Bruno explained, "If the divine power is poured over a closed vessel, which is what, spiritually speaking, this man is, and then it only flows over the surface, on the outside, and can't get in anywhere. And the person's concerned, who wants to know nothing about the good, experiences this as something very, very unpleasant." And Bruno continues to say, "Mr. M was well known as a distinguished and respectable local businessman." And yes, Bruno said, "He is the businessman." In the spiritual realm, the concept of good and evil signifies something other than what people usually take them to mean. Even when someone is completely blameless as far as the laws of the state are concerned, they are nevertheless, from a spiritual point of view, be a servant of and an instrument of evil. As soon as someone doubts the divine, and only lets the material world count for something, and because they assume that they can live their lives in a neutral zone without any further consequences, they have nevertheless already started to be influenced by evil, and such a person will sooner or later end up being completely and helplessly at its mercy. In reality, there is no gray zone that something can occupy without further consequences. So no one should be surprised if the body also falls into disorder as a result of a psychological burdens that have previously been allowed in, and for which the individuals themselves are responsible. On the other hand, a spiritual healing of the body is only possible when the person concerned moves towards inner peace and finally has the will and the determination to get along with themselves and the world in peace, and never to squander the divine power on anything that is not good, no matter how it has been picked up. So basically, we have a little story here. So Mr. M, the man, or the husband, the wife was complaining about not paying attention to her, so ridicule her. And then he basically came in to Bruno's talk. He wasn't interested at all. Not interested in any good spiritual teaching. So basically, he was a respected businessman, and then he's just not interested in anything spiritual or anything serves the good for people. And also Bruno explained how and why the man was sweating a lot, because he was a closed vessel. So he didn't have any intention for the good. So basically he closed himself and to receive any good, to receive any divine power from God. So the divine power only go over the surface, and then so it doesn't get into him. So that's why he feel very, very unpleasant. So in contrast, I'm not 100% sure if I should say, if the one is full of divine power, so the one is full of good. So when he confront the evil energy, the negative force, and he or she will feel very uncomfortable too. So I'm not too sure about what your experience is, dear friends. So have you experienced anything that you come across a situation, and then you come across someone, so your logic will tells you, yes, you should go down the left side, and then somehow your gut feeling, your heart, you felt so wrong to go down that path, even though it seems like logically right. So you just feel so wrong to go down that path, and then you follow your heart, and then you end up and choosing something better. And same thing when you come across somebody, so you feel so wrong, surrounded, just be near him or her. You just feel so uncomfortable, and then you should always pay attention to your feeling. Okay, even though the person seems harmless, so that kind of gut feeling of uncomfortableness, the discomfort, so basically telling you there's something wrong there. So you need to pay a close attention. And that person might look in his face, like he might look nice in his face, but there might be something evil inside him. That's why you feel so uncomfortable. Just be near him. Okay, I had that feeling like during my trip around Australia. So I came across a gentleman, a bloke in in the remote town. So he basically asked me, like, invite me. So look, you can come over and stay overnight with me. So and then we got like cold beers and then a wood fire because it was in winter time. So it was in the mountain area. It was quite cold. So he seems like okay. The situation, somebody invites you. So I had that situation before, quite like more than a few times. Like people invite me to their homes. Like I end up staying there. So they're very good people. They feed me, and then they give me a nice bed to sleep. So I came across like I had that quite a few like experiences. Like people are very nice, but suddenly I don't know why. And when that gentleman or when that bloke, when he invited me, I felt so wrong. I felt somehow, and I don't know why, I felt so defensive. I don't know, like I didn't know where the feeling come from, because before when I came across people, I was relaxed. But somehow I felt so defensive, and I looked into his eyes, and somehow, and then I had a feeling I cannot trust him. So and then I just politely refused. I said sorry, thank you for your offer. And then I said, look, like I have to keep going. And then, so later on when I talked to a friend, and then that friend said, oh, he might well, mean very good. So you just like misunderstood. I said, I hope I'm wrong, but in that situation, and then I just felt so wrong just to, to go with him. And then this kind of feeling I never had with other people. So I asked myself, doesn't he tell me something? Why, I have this feeling, this very defensive, like a bad, unpleasant feeling towards him. And then I had like majority, like I had a very good feeling towards the rest of like 10 people who invite me to their house. But why is it like that? So are they like all purely like good people? If they're all purely good people, why have I have different feeling then? So always ask yourself questions and pay attention to your feeling and trust your gut feeling and trust your intuition, because it's the intuition is the way, like your intuition is the way God communicate to you and to many people, especially the one who's very sensitive. Okay, dear friends, so I'll continue with the third part to explain a bit more of my understanding of Bruno saying about the good and evil in the spiritual realm. Okay, God bless.